All set? Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting. Can I call this meeting to order at 6:30 PM and ask everybody to please rise for a pledge to allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So good evening. My name is Kathleen Castronellis. I'm actually the vice chairman, chairing until we reorganize, and we'll go down the line and ask everyone to please introduce themselves, not you, my board members, if you could.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Boucher. For the sake of avoiding confusion, you can call me Becky, as not to confuse us with the town administrator, who's the original Rebecca.
That's a good way to have it.
Jason Aves, Select Board Member.
Mark Parento, Select Board Member.
Ed Watson, Board of Selectmen.
Okay. So we typically open with public comment, and I haven't received any notification that anybody wants to make a public comment. So I'll assume that nobody does need to. So we'll proceed with reorganization of the board.
I'll nominate Kathy Castronellis as the next chair for the Select Board.
I'll second that.
Do we have any discussion? There being none, call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. You haven't let me do this long enough to give me applause. I haven't earned that yet. But we do need a vice chairman. Do I have a nomination for vice chairman of the board?
I'll make a motion to appoint Jason Ames as the vice chair.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of Jason Naves as vice chairman of the board? It's unanimous. Thank you. Enthusiastic crowd tonight. Thank you. It's infectious. So next on our agenda is a presentation of a citation, but I was looking to see if our senator and representative were to be present for this. I thought that our representative Ramos and Senator Tar were to be present for this citation.
She's going to be here on Saturday. She should be here soon.
Oh, on Saturday. I thought you meant she's coming on Saturday. I was going to say,
Saturday,
that's
she should be here
not going
tonight.
to work. Okay, so,
Senator is supposed to be coming.
okay, so we could move to a discussion and vote go through one item maybe, if that's okay with everybody, and we'll wait for everyone to be here to do this citation properly. Is that okay? Okay, because I know it's important and I know people are here for that. So discussion and possible vote. We have the annual town meeting recap. Is that going to be given by our town administrator?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm happy to report that all went well at the annual town meeting. All of the articles passed, only one was tabled. That is actually your next item on your agenda, so we can discuss that afterwards. The other changes that were made to the warrant that we discussed during the annual town meeting process is that Article 15, we had some discussion about limiting the number of unregistered vehicles per the general bylaw. During conversations with council, it was found that the language that we were amending actually conflicted with the language that we had. Therefore, we proposed to go back to one in order to make sure that that language was not conflicting and was within the intent of what the article was supposed to, or why the article was put forward, as well as the conversation that happened with the Board of Selectmen. The other amendment to the article was for the COA revolving cap. We had increased that to $25,000. That was also in regards to a budgetary change that we made where we eliminated their expense line items to add into their wages, and therefore, since they have a revolving count, they are able to spend those monies on programming and other supplies and things of that nature. So to increase that cap made sense because we had taken away the other monies under the operational budget. All of the other articles had gone through, And again, we had that one technical issue and one article was tabled, and we can pass that, or excuse me, and we can talk about that on our next agenda item.
Okay, thank you very much. Do any members care to weigh in on the recap of town meeting? It went well.
Yep.
Went well. We voted a balanced budget, no override. 2.5% is the maximum increase. So I think all the departments did well, and Finance Board did well, and Board of Selectmen did well. We all worked together and brought this thing through, so that was a good feeling. I think we probably have time for the Billis Way item on the agenda.
Okay, so as just stated, there was one article that we had to table at annual town meeting. After discussions with town council and review of the documents submitted by the developer for that project, it was found that when he deeded over all of the properties to the homeowners, he actually included all rights, titles, and interests in the way shown as Billis Way on the plan. Therefore, when he tried to give us the documentation for us to take the project, take the roadway legally, we are not able to take it because he is not able to grant us the rights to the way because he gave those rights away to the landowners. So in order to rectify the situation and have allowed it to go through a town meeting, we would have needed to get all of the residents to sign off. And it's not just the residents, because most people have a mortgage. And so your mortgage company is not your neighborhood bank typically. So to get them to sign off on a document of that nature was not going to be in time for town meeting. So in communications with town council, it was decided that we could move forward with street acceptance per eminent domain. And the town planner is actually working with council and with the developer on making sure that we can make that process go smoothly for acceptance at our next meeting, whether or not it be a fall special town meeting or whether or not it be the 2025 annual town meeting in April. That being said, obviously, we want to be respectful of the homeowners and the process, and it was no specific fault of the residents, nor was it a specific fault of the town per se, but there was some information that we did not receive until last minute. So there was an agreement with the developer that he would continue to plow the roadway for Billis Way, and he would also continue to maintain Billis Way. We had an anonymous donor come in to pay for the street lights to be turned on for the year. And so that would mean that the only outstanding item for the year until we can rectify this problem at town meeting, where it legally should be accepted and per the right procedure, is trash pickup. So the residents are looking to have curbside trash pickup. They currently have trash pickup now, but you have to bring your trash all the way down to Main Street, which is obviously a burden, especially when you live further up the road. So the board has the authority to allow for trash pickup, and at the meeting, at annual town meeting, prior to annual town meeting, the board had expressed interest in moving forward with that direction. So this evening, we're asking the board to take a vote to allow trash pickup until town meeting, where the town would be able to formally accept the roadway.
So I'll make a motion to allow curbside trash pickup for Billis Way.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any more discussion? No. There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, that passes. Good. I'm looking for items that we can do while we're waiting a little bit. So I was looking at the bond anticipation notes. Is that something that, a motion that we just have to read and do, or is that something quick?
It can be a quick item. So you'll see, just scrolling down to that portion of the packet, but we had taken out or the Water and Sewer Commission had approached the town for a bond for $600,000 in 2023 and $360,000 in 2021 for a water supply project and a water main replacement project. So they received town meeting approval in order for us to move forward with the borrowing. So now we needed to put those bonds out for bid. We did have a bid for those bonds. They call them a bond anticipation note. And we are looking at a 4.5% interest rate. So we're pleased with what we had received for results, and therefore the board needs to approve the sale of the notes, the marketing of the notes, authorize disclosures, authorize oversight for tax compliance, and authorize the execution of documents in relation to the notes. So all of those votes and the information in relation to that are included in your packet.
So if I understand it correctly, it starts with, it says, "I, the clerk of the select board"?
So we don't have a clerk of the select board, so the
Correct.
chair of the select board would be the one
Okay.
who would sign and authorize on some of the documents. And I have the other original paperwork that needs to be filed as well, so all select board members will need to sign those. So there's just a couple that require the clerk, which would be the chair.
Okay. But the votes, do we have to do separate votes for each one of these votes that it
Yes.
says? Okay, so the first motion that I'd be looking for would be a motion to approve the sale of 960,000 4.5% general obligation bond anticipation notes, called the notes of the town, dated May 30th, 2024, and payable May 29th, 2025, to Oppenheimer and Company, Inc., at par and accrued interest, if any, plus a premium of $2,805.
So motioned.
Discussion?
Second.
Yep, second, yep, sorry, yeah. Discussion? There be none, all in favor of the motion? It's unanimous. Second motion, keep reading from, as it says here, right? Could continue, yep, okay. That in conjunction with the marketing and sale of the notes, I move the preparation and distribution of notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated May 1st, 2024, and a final official statement dated May 7th, 2024, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted.
So motioned.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Further move that the town treasurer and the select board be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15, Chapter 2 through 12, is that correct? In such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the notes for the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time.
So motioned.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Further move that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax exempt status of the notes and to comply with relevant security laws.
So motioned.
Second.
Discussion. There be none, all in favor? Further move that any certificates or documents relating to the notes, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original, and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document, and electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating thereto, having the same legal effect as original signatures.
So motioned.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Further move that each member of the select board, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes.
So motioned.
Second.
Discussion? There be none, all in favor? Okay. And that completes the votes that are required? Yes? Yes. Okay, we're done with that. That's a lot of wording about signatures, but I think we got that down pretty well. We did all right. One-day liquor licenses? If everybody's not here yet, correct? We're still waiting a little bit?
We got
Wait,
one.
oh, wait a minute. Ah, he's hiding in the back. That's not okay. How about our representative? Is she here? Everybody's pointing around and I'm not sure what.
Like a former representative on the, he's not, he's going to be giving the presentation.
Okay, so are we a go for this? I think yes or no?
Yes, he is.
I guess we're going to go?
Do you think we should wait for Representative Ramos, or do you think?
I don't know, but I heard that she may be coming, so that's it.
Do you want me to text her?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so text her, we'll give her a minute, we're gonna do a couple liquor licenses, which we do all the time. You know? Seems like a good idea. Okay, so we have a one-day liquor license for Andrea and Paul, oh my goodness, Kowakowski of Haverhill. I don't know, I probably said that poorly, I apologize. For a private event on June 15th, liquor to be served from 1 PM to 5 PM. The event will be held at VZ Park. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant a one-day liquor license to Andrea and Paul Kowalski of Haverhill for a private event on June 15th, liquor to be served from 1 PM to 5 PM at VC Park.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody's reviewed the application. All in favor? It's unanimous. I'm looking for motion for the Friends of VZ Memorial Park Rubbish to Runway event on June 21st and June 22nd. Liquor to be served from 6 PM to 10 PM. The event will be held at VZ Memorial Park.
I'll make a motion for a two-day liquor license for the Friends of VC Memorial Park for a Rubbish to Runway event on June 21st and June 22nd. The liquor to be served from 6 to 10 at VC Park.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, I am, sorry, that's loud. I'm going to recuse myself from the vote since I'm a member of the Friends of VZ.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? Nope, all in favor? And one recusal. 4 in favor. And the last one is a motion for Heidi Thomas and John DeLeon of Dracut for a private event on June 8th. Liquor to be served from 4 PM to 9 PM. The event will be held at VZ Memorial Park.
I'll make a motion for a one-day liquor license for Heidi Thomas and John DeLon of Dracut for a private event on June 8th. Liquor to be served from 4 PM to 9 PM at VC Memorial Park.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, that completes the liquor licenses.
Yes.
Do we have an update?
She did say that she was coming.
Oh,
She thought it was
half hour.
7:30.
Oh.
Is it half hour okay?
Half an hour from now?
Yes.
I
It's gonna
don't
be up
know
to-
what it, the
Okay
sun.
with me. Think of all the business you can get done.
Here we go. Watch us go. So we could go back to the actual agenda, or we could go to appointments and resignations. Resignations.
I know, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I said that.
No, I had that kind of a day too, where I spelled words like unbelievably badly. It's one of those Mondays. What's your pleasure? Is the attorney here for the, is that about a half an hour?
Yes, I believe Mr. Naughton is on the Zoom call.
Okay, so would a half an hour be sufficient? I'm waiting to hear from whoever's going to present to us.
Sure.
Okay, sure. So we're
Perfect.
jumping to the agenda item, just so everyone understands, we're going to this PFAS, the Per and Poly, I can't even say the whole thing, Cost Recovery Program and presentation from Attorney Hank Naughton of Napoli and Schlon. Pronounce the name better for me, please. Thank you so much.
Napoli Skolnick,
Napoli Schlon.
but that's okay. You can refer to it as the Napoli Law Firm.
Okay, thank you so much. Proceed, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations on your election as chair, and thank you and all your colleagues for your service. And knowing that my former colleague, Senator Tarr, is in the room, I don't want to be asserting a matter of personal privilege as a former legislator. My name is Hank Naughton. I served in the House for 26 years, where I got to know the senator. I got to know Rebecca with her tremendous work for her former boss, who was my vice chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee, Representative Linda Dean Campbell. And in 2018, I became of counsel to the Napoli law firm, and then in 2020 became a full partner, and then left the House at that time. In the interim, I did spend a short time on the district court bench, but was induced to come back to the law firm because of the cases that I'm speaking to you about today. And in 2018, and why I think it's important that I speak to your community, and a half hour is plenty. I'll try to keep it as condensed as possible while giving you enough information to make a positive decision. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has been requiring testing of PFAS and PFOA substances since 2018. That point's significant, and I'll get back to it shortly. My firm, led by Paul Napoli, has been in environmental litigation for upwards of 30 years. Paul has led the litigation against the makers of these substances, and I can send along a slide deck for your board's review at some point, which gives some background on this lawsuit. And for purposes either they were mandated by their states or decided on their own, in the early 2010s, municipalities, water districts around the country decided to start testing for these substances when it became clear through various levels of research that these substances were causing cancer, thyroid conditions, low birth weight, birth injuries to children, hypercholesterolemia, and various types of cancer. Research was done, and it was discovered that the makers of these chemicals had knowledge at probably going back 50 years of the cancer-causing and the other detrimental effects of their products, and didn't tell anyone. Once in 2018, all of those cases were consolidated in the Federal District Court of Charleston, South Carolina, and plaintiffs have continued to join into those cases ever since. There are now about 2,000 plaintiffs in this case, and the case was converted from a multi-district litigation to a class action earlier this year. What does that mean for the town of Groveland? I looked at the latest DEP records from last year, and there are and you have many water sources in your town, and there are many detects of these chemicals in your water sources. Some of them, none of them exceed the maximum contaminant level set by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in 2018 of 20 parts per trillion. And please jump in and ask questions, because there's a lot of scientific and a lot of legalese I'm using here. So if I talk about this stuff every day. So if there's something that I'm glossing over that I need to explain in better context, please let me know. But what's important about the fact that these figures are available for the town of Groveland is that you had detects prior to June of last year in testing. That's a significant date. There are 18 defendants in this case. One, the Kidde Fenwal Company, has declared bankruptcy. 3, we have arrived at settlements with. DuPont of $1.185 billion, 3M of $12.5 billion, and those have both been approved by the court, and a Tyco settlement, which has been agreed upon by the attorneys, and we're waiting approval by the court, of $750 million. So closing in on $15 billion we are coming close to announcing a fourth settlement. Why is it's significant for the town of Groveland is because communities that had DTEX in their testing before June of last year, which Groveland has, would be able to participate in what we're calling phase one of these settlements, meaning that as soon as sometime this year, checks could be cut for the PFAS remediation. The awards are based on a formula of your water flow multiplied the highest 3 years average of your water flow between 2013 and 2022 multiplied by the highest average of your PFAS DTEX during that same period of time. And the money could be used, for the PFAS remediation, or it could be used for other uses by the town or the water department. Why it was important for me to come and talk to you tonight is that there are some deadlines coming up. The first deadline is actually the Tyco deadline, which would be May 15th, which you already qualify for because you've already tested. The second deadline is June 17th. That is the deadline to make a claim into the DuPont fund, the lesser of the two big ones. And then the deadline to apply for a claim into the 3M deadline is July 6th. But you'll have met that burden if you provide the documentation needed by the June 17th deadline, because it's all the same paperwork. It's all the same background that we would need on your water flow and your PFAS DTEX, as well as some other documents of any remediation that you may have already done, and a W-9. So that is in documentation that I would think that your public works, that your water department would have at the ready. Where does my firm come in? I'm a partner in the firm. I'm local here in Massachusetts. That's why I've been working very hard to let Massachusetts communities know about this. The firm is national, however, so we very quickly scale up to the national level. Paul Napoli, my partner and the founding partner of the firm, has been chair of the plaintiffs' executive committee in this case, based in Charleston, South Carolina. He has been the person who has negotiated these settlements on behalf of our clients, current and future clients. So we would lead the way in assisting Groveland in gathering the documents needed and filing them with the court to make these claims, since this has been turned into a class action. There's no cost. We front all the costs for this litigation and for everything that we do for the town. And it is a contingency fee agreement, of which I did send the town administrator a copy of. And we are also partnered with KP Law in this instance, and they're aware of what we're doing. The retainer that I sent along was compiled and written in concert with KP Law, so they're aware of our activities. And we feel we bring a full. We're a very, very broad-based and robust law firm that brings the legal talent both locally and nationally to represent the town. We have a full-time environmental science department to work with you to interpret your results and filing into the claim to maximize your results. Right now, we estimate that the monies in this trust fund would last until 2030. So if at some point there are either extraordinary costs in remediation or other costs that you entail for remediation, you can return to the trust fund with our assistance to apply for supplemental payments. We also maintain a full-time footprint and lobbying and government affairs footprint in DC to pay attention to what the EPA is doing. And a lot of this has been driven by the EPA. On April 10th of this year, the EPA mandated a maximum contaminant level for these substances of 4 parts per trillion, a fifth of what Massachusetts now mandates. That will be implemented beginning next year. And to show how infinitesimal that number is, our environmental science department estimates that is something like a can of Coke in Lake Superior. So that's how small the testing needs to be effective for these substances to protect your water users. We have a full-time communications department to work with you, to work with the administrator and work with your administration going forward. And we have a full-time water consultant who was for 37 years the executive director of the National Rural Water Association that could work with your community in planning the future remediation and what might be needed for this. If you decide that you want to use any monies awarded for that. In these current settlements, and because you are below the maximum contaminant level, there on most of your water sources, there would be no mandate to remediate. So the award would be to the town to use as they see fit. There are 13 more defendants that we're negotiating with, one of whom we are coming close to announcing a settlement in the next week or two or three, and 12 more after that we will continue negotiating with on the town's behalf if the town does decide to retain my firm. Without whipping out a bunch of charts and graphs of the history of PFAS and where it comes from, it literally called the everywhere chemical and the forever chemical. It is probably in the carpet where you're sitting, in the desktop, in dry cleaning. It's in women's makeup. It is in Teflon. It is in wrappers from McDonald's and Wendy's and fast food restaurants. It's in photographic equipment, and it's the active ingredient in the firefighting foam that's been used for years and years by fire departments around the Commonwealth and around the country. So in about 6 or 7 minutes, I just gave you a rundown on typically what I sometimes use an hour to present, but I know your board has a lot of business on tonight. So hopefully I've given you a well-rounded history of this and why we feel the town of Groveland should get involved in this litigation and why we feel we're the appropriate law firm for you to get involved with. We currently represent over 100 communities in Massachusetts. I'm proud of that fact. My dad, as I told you, I was a state rep for 26 years in the Clinton area. My dad ran the water department here for 40 years. And so all politics being local, and the first time I ran for rep, I think most people thought they were voting for my father, which I didn't complain about because it worked out pretty well. And so I do feel this is a very purposeful work and kind of carrying on the tradition of my dad in the water industry. So with all that, can I answer any questions?
Do we have questions? Ed?
No, but I'd like to hear the water department weigh in on this also.
Do we have a representative from the water commissioners or the water superintendent? Maybe just one person or two if needed. I think we're getting the superintendent up. Here we go.
Hello. I guess, we've been well aware of the PFAS issues. Since I became superintendent, we joined in on the voluntary testing of it. And it's been lovely ever since. Once the 4 parts per trillion limit is imposed, we're going to be triggered at 2 out of our 3 wells. So we have to do something about it. So if we can get, money through this lawsuit to help with that, we're looking at a potential $22 million water treatment plant to remove the PFAS. So this is a real thing. It's happening whether people want to pay for it or not. They're going to pay for it anyway. So we might as well make the companies that produce the chemicals help us out with that.
Do you think you have all the documentation that they're going to need?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, to you, Attorney Naughton, do you feel that we would be able to get any funding towards the building of a $22 million water treatment plant?
Absolutely.
It's a good
And
answer.
and so I always, I always liked that answer when I was at the State House too. The, we always try to be very transparent. And I'm not going to sit here and say, we're going to get you to 100%, we're going to get you to $22 million. Because at the end of the day, this is a broad-based problem, which I think is going to need not just the monies from this litigation, but the monies from potential state funding, potential federal funding. But we're going to get you as close as we can. And as I said, you're ahead of the game. If can I ask the superintendent through you, Madam Chair?
Absolutely.
Has the town how far along in the planning of that treatment plant is the town?
So far, we've done a feasibility study to figure out what the plant would have to look like. We have a location that we already own in town. We've looked into drilling new wells, finding new wells to try to get away from the PFAS. That was to no avail. Yeah, so we've done some legwork. We obviously haven't pulled the trigger on funding it yet. We did apply to
Sure.
the state revolving fund, and we were approved through that, but we're not quite far along enough in the process to accept that funding from them. But we're not sitting around waiting for it to come on our doorstep. We're working towards it.
No, that's great to hear. So because the way these settlements are set is there will be an initial payment to you based on the formula I described, and any expenses you've incurred in planning up to now, like the feasibility study, those expenses can be submitted. And as you go forward in the building of the plant, there potentially, I want all transparency here, there could potentially be those supplemental funds for extraordinary costs that I mentioned. But there, at the very least, will be the initial payment, upfront payment to the town. And I can send you the link. Once we gather the documents, the flow rates and the DTEX, we can have a pretty good idea of what the initial payment will be because we've created a link by which you can input the data to do that. There's also the future settlements that we are working hard on. The 3M settlement will be paid out over 10 years, though 60+% of it will go to the town in the first 2 years. And the reason we've agreed with that is that settlement of $12.5 billion is about 22% of their equity. That standing alone is the largest water utility settlement in the history of the country. We wanted DuPont to be able to stay liquid and not push them any way towards bankruptcy or anything like that, so that we could continue to negotiate with them for future settlements. There are various silos in this case. The drinking water is the first silo. We are also negotiating with them on cleanup of landfills, cleanup of wastewater treatment plants, cleanup of airports, and there is a personal injury silo in this where firefighters and veterans who utilize these chemicals on military bases and contracted cancer will have individual personal injury claims. So there may be other claims as time progresses, as the litigation progresses, that we might be able to make available for the town.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more questions?
No.
Questions?
No.
Do we wish to make a decision?
I think it's definitely something we should participate in.
Ask the town administrator, what would the motion for something like this entail? What would we commit to?
Just that you would move forward with signing on to a lawsuit
Okay.
as described and discussed.
So I'll make a motion that we move forward with the entering in the class action suit with Napoli Law as our representative.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion from the board? It's a lot of information. Thank you for that so much. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Yep.
It's unanimous. We joined you.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair and
You
members
may
of the
not,
board.
but-
I appreciate it. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you for the description. It was really helpful. Appreciate that time.
I
Thank
hope
you.
so. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll go back to our agenda. We're still giving a few more minutes, I take it, a little bit more. Why don't we go to appointments and resignations, if that's okay with the board? Should be able to get those done. We have, on the first is to accept the resignation of Rebecca Bouchard. Tell me I say it wrong.
Boucher.
Boucher.
Boucher. Thank you, Rebecca. From the Board of Registrars effective May 8th, 2024.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resignation of Becky Boucher from the Board of Registers effective May 8th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion?
I'm going to recuse myself because it's me.
There being none, all in favor? 4 in favor, 1 recusal. Accept the resignation of Wayne Lawver as part-time dispatcher for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 2nd, 2024.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Wayne Lover as his part-time dispatch for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 2nd, 2024.
I'll second that.
Discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Yep.
It's unanimous. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Kyle Elardo as full-time dispatcher for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 13th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Kyle Eldorado as full-time dispatcher for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 13th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Yep.
I'll accept a motion to accept the resignation of Danielle Albright as office manager in the Groveland Water and Sewer Department, effective May 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Danielle Albright as office manager in the Groveland Water and Sewer Department, effective May 14th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. A motion to appoint Aiden Hollingsworth of Methuen, Massachusetts as full-time dispatcher for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 17th, 2024 through June 30th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to appoint Aiden Hollingsworth of Methuen, Massachusetts as full-time dispatcher for the Groveland Police Department, effective May 17th, 2024 through June 30th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. And the last one, to appoint Kim Bork of Hempstead, New Hampshire, as office manager for the Groveland Water and Sewer Department, effective May 14th, 2024. The position is non-exempt, 37.5 hours per week, at a rate of $34.63 per hour.
I'll make a motion to appoint Kim Bjork of Hampstead, New Hampshire, as office manager for the Groveland Water and Sewer Department, effective May 14th, 2024. The position is non-exempt, 37.5 hours, at a weekly rate of $34.63 per hour.
And I'll second.
Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you very much. And I see that we have Representative Ramos is here and Senator Tar is here, so we'll move back to agenda item citation presentation. So, he has a microphone, so I figured.
All right. This is great. Well, thank you. Actually, with your indulgence, Madam Chair, if we could maybe come up front here And first of all, I know that we both want to congratulate the members that have been newly elected and re-elected to the board. So Ed and Rebecca, congratulations. And to you, Madam Chair, congratulations on your ascendancy to the chair of the board. And we do appreciate the opportunity to interrupt your schedule for just a moment tonight, but for a reason that we think is very important, and that is to recognize a very special educator that lives here in the town of Groveland. And just to put this into context, I think everyone may or may not know about Mass Insight, which offers support services to advanced placement STEM and English teachers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, roughly 600 of them. And of those 600, on an annual basis, they choose those that have been outstanding partners in excellence, measured by a number of different metrics, but mostly involving student improvement. And of those 600, very few are selected to be awarded as a partner in excellence. And we have among us a partner in excellence that we would like to recognize, and we thought that it would be appropriate to do it here in Groveland. There was an event at Bentley University in Waltham not all that long ago, but we thought it would be better actually to do it right here in her hometown, where we could share in that recognition with you and with the people who are watching by virtue of the television broadcast. And so, first of all, I'm going to get this citation. And I'm going to ask Grace if you could join us up here, and we'll figure out the photo op part later. Mary Ann from my office has been standing by, patiently waiting to take this picture, so we'll make sure we get it right. But we do want to thank and congratulate you. It seems to me that all too often teachers don't get enough expression of appreciation and thanks for the great work that you do, particularly with these very talented students and helping them to realize their potential, and in turn helping them to go on to realize their dreams. And the work that you do is critically important. It's great that it's been recognized. And so I have a citation for you from myself and my colleagues in the Senate. And it reads, "Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Grace McIntyre of Haverhill High School in recognition of your exemplary contributions to student success during the 2022-2023 academic year. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, and that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by our clerk." And this is signed by our Senate President, Karen Spilka. It's attested to by our clerk, Michael Hurley, and I'm proud to offer it to you. And we'll hand this to you in just a moment, not before I yield the microphone to my colleague in the House of Representatives.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience with me this evening. I'm honored to be here as well as a daughter of a teacher and a sister to a teacher. I have seen sort of the impact on their lives, on their personal lives, but also the reward that comes along with success in the classroom. So to be honored with this recognition, I think just speaks volumes to your commitment and your family's commitment, because I imagine that there are times where it's, you're to be this recognized as taking time out of your nights and weekends. So thank you for that, and thank you to your family for that support. And so I, too, have a citation from the House of Representatives, and it says, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Grace McIntyre in recognition of your Partners in Excellence Award for your work with Math Insights, AP, STEM, and English program. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors." And it's signed by the Speaker of the House and myself, State Representative.
Now, yes, please give her a round of applause. So, Madam Chair, we do not want to be the only ones in this photo opportunity, so I see that you have a citation as well.
Of course we do. We love citations. Okay. Come on. Hi, congratulations. This is certificate of recognition presented to Grace McIntyre in recognition of receiving the Partners in Excellence Award for your exemplary contributions to students' success during the 2022-2023 academic year at Haverhill High School. The importance of great teachers cannot be underestimated. They change lives. inspire dreams, and push the limits of potential. And we thank you, the Groveland Select Board, on behalf of the board and the residents of Groveland. We are so very proud of you, and thank you to have you as a resident of our town, making us look good. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could suggest, maybe if we go in the middle over there, right beneath the town seal, and maybe your colleagues can flank us, and we can get in the middle, and we can get a photo up with all of us included.
We can do it group. We can do group. You got this. We should give her her.
Yes, we do need to give you these.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just keep walking away with it.
You want to take it back?
I don't know. I don't know what I was
All
doing.
right, Grace, come right over here.
Let's get equal and
I just followed Bruce's
All right, so I'm going to get over here. Okay.
Get all the sweat.
Okay, now we're gonna shoulder it. We're
Kathy?
Yeah.
Would you open that up and hold it?
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to put this microphone down here,
We gotta look good.
and then we're all going to stand here,
Now we're gonna look good.
and we're going to look right down the middle first, okay? Now Mary Ann to the left. Now to Rebecca to the left. All right, now right down the middle again. And way in the back.
We got it. All right.
All right.
That's a wrap.
All three.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for letting us come and interrupt you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Come and sit down. I know, right? This one fun bunch.
See you, I know.
Right? Yes. Hot mic.
I hate to give up on my.
Gonna put that in his pocket.
I'll still be talking. I will still be hearing. Great.
Karaoke.
Thank you so much. It was nice to see you both, and congratulations. Well, again, words can't really express how very proud we are
Thank
to
you.
have you in our town and to understand what you've done and been awarded. It's a huge accomplishment. Thank you. Knock over the mic, Kath. That'll do good. I'm known for things like that. Just you wait. You haven't seen it all yet. Okay, so we have accomplished a lot, believe it or not. Let me just double check here. We do not have minutes to approve. We did go out of order, so I'm just going to double check. I believe we've covered, no, we have item 5 under discussion and possible vote to accomplish. Just following the bond anticipation note. Do we see that? It's the application. It sounds so complicated, but it's actually sort of simple. I think our town administrator will explain it, but it's an application for Sustainable Materials Recovery Program, SMRP, Municipal Technical Assistance Grant for exploration into a pay-as-you-throw program. And we would need a vote of the board to apply for this technical assistance grant. Have we been, I know I went out of order. It's under discussion and possible vote, item number 5. Has everybody had time to find it? Okay. Rebecca, would you like to recap it, or?
Sure. So you'll see in your memo, I put together some additional information for you to review, but from an overview, we are looking to apply for a pay-as-you-throw municipal technical assistance grant. As it's stated, this does not commit the town to move forward with a pay-as-you-throw program. It really is just to have a technical assistance, or a MAC as they call them, is a representative from Mass DEP that is specialized and skilled in this particular area. And we get 80 hours of their time to commit to Groveland and exploring how we can implement the pay-as-you-throw program if the town decides to move forward with such. So again, there is no monetary commitment other than my time, which would be working with the assistant more specifically in terms of the details that we currently have in place. As you all know, we have an overflow program, so it is kind of as a pay-as-you-throw, but only in excess, not in its entirety. So it would be getting information, figuring out how we would implement and expand upon that, and what we would gain to benefit if we were to move in that direction. So since I'm already working with the Trash and Recycling Committee, my time is already designated, so it doesn't come at an added expense. There's no additional monetary match that would need to be provided. It really is just having somebody there with the expertise to help us lead this whole process. As you know, trash is a very heated topic for any community, and I think that communities across the state are really struggling with how we move forward and we go about funding our trash contracts that are currently in place. I know there's been a lot of discussion about how the trash contract in Groveland seems to be very high, but when you look at it compared to other communities, it's actually right on par. A lot of that has to do with tipping fees. Some of the tipping fees that we see in other communities right now are at $103. We're still only at $95. So there are some things in the contract that obviously we would like to change, but when we are looking at the future of trash collection, recycling, there is a larger story at play that we need to take into consideration, and exploring a pay-as-you-throw program is one of those ways that we can explore how we could potentially move forward with that if in fact the town wanted to. So this grant will really allow us to have an expert in the field give us insight into how this would be rolled out, what it would look like, and how we can move forward. And again, there is no commitment to move forward if at the end of it, the town says, you know what, this is not for us. But at least we've explored that option for the townspeople to understand that this is a way that we can cut down that trash. If we are able to do that, that allows us to use our funding for our budget in other ways. So again, it's just a conversation topic, but because there's a long-term implementation, as the chairwoman mentioned, I would like to have the board support us moving forward with a grant application before applying like some of the other grants, because there is long-term implications if the town wants to move forward. It doesn't mean we have to move forward, but it is making a statement that we are exploring that option.
Right, thank you so much. So, and yes, I can speak from our meetings and discussions on the Trash and Recycling Committee that we do as much research and legwork as we can do, but this would provide us access, or through our town administrator, access to an expert who can put in 80 hours of technical assistance that we don't have the staffing for here in Groveland. That's what this is about. It's not about committing the town to this, it's about getting the best information possible so that we can present the best options to our town going forward. But we would need the board to approve the application for this grant, because it does involve us saying, yes, we're going to look at this. So do you have any questions or things? Sure, go ahead.
Several, actually.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, a former member of the Board of Health stopped by and reminded me that several years ago, the town had voted a ballot question on trash. And there was 3 questions. One was pay as you throw, hire your own hauler, or have the trash picked up by the town of Groveland. And overwhelmingly, it was voted to, at a ballot question at the town election, to have the trash picked up as we have it now. The curbside pickup.
May I ask you for the year of that ballot vote? Because I have not seen that ballot vote.
1990.
Okay, okay.
So,
Okay. No, fair enough. No. Fair. No, it's okay. No, I'm serious.
so
I'd
if,
like to look at that.
If it was a ballot question in 1990,
Okay,
some of the paperwork here, it wouldn't be up to the Board of Selectmen to do a pay-as-you-throw. It would be up to, if it was voted at a town election, it would be up to the voters to weigh in on it. Rather, the selectmen can't nullify a townwide vote. We're not the Massachusetts legislature that can do that. But that was one of the questions. The other question was, I think coming up, we're going to be paying over $800,000 a year for trash pickup. And the question was, would that reduce the whole budget by 800 and some odd $1,000, or would the, would the 880, whatever it is, thousand, would it stay in there and use it for something else? And I didn't have the answer to that. So I would think that if you do something like this, then that money would come back to the taxpayers to help them with the pay-as-you-throw program. And also, one thing to take into consideration is that the way we have it now, as long as our real estate taxes are under $10,000, it's deductible off of our taxes. If we do a pay-as-you-throw, it's not deductible. So it would be a direct cost to the taxpayers, where now, if your real estate taxes are 10,000 or under, you can deduct it. As you know, that under the tax code that was passed like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, once your real estate taxes get over 10,000, you can't deduct anymore. So if someone has two houses, a vacation home, and their taxes, real estate taxes for the combined total are over 10,000, you're limited to 10. And there are some houses here in Groveland they're up over 10,000. So just food for thought, that if you may have to go through a different process then, because I know reading in here, the selectmen said the selectmen have the option, and I don't believe that they do. I think if it was a town-wide vote, that would have to go back to a ballot question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those thoughts. Two things that need to be pointed out. One is that we do have currently a Board of Health member that sits on the Trash and Recycling Committee, so the entire committee has been involved, and a consensus of the committee is in favor of the investigation money. This is not money that implements a pay-as-you-throw program. This is just money that will assist with technical assistance, so that the questions that Select Member Ed Watson raised as to, well, what happens? Where does the money go? How much stays in the tax rate? How much doesn't stay in the tax rate? All of those are really good and valid questions. And before people agree or disagree to have trash collection changed, I think we need to know all of that information. And that's where the technical assistance grant comes in, because it's very difficult for us with a volunteer staff on trash and recycling and one town administrator monitoring, I don't even want to think about how many things, to find the time to do the type of research, the technical research needed to do for this type of thing. And that's all this grant is funding, is the 80 technical hours to get information. So every question that you've asked at, including, I think it's a very valid question, well, what about this ballot vote? How does that weigh in? Do we need another ballot vote? That's a good question. We can find out, but we need access to some technical assistance in order to pursue these questions.
Madam Chair.
Additional comment?
Of course, absolutely.
Also, a neighboring town of Boxford, I'm speaking to somebody from over there today, and Boxford has, right now they have a pay-as-you-throw, and they want to get rid of that, and I believe one of the reasons were that they weren't going to be able to get anybody to pick up their trash with a pay-as-you-throw.
I believe we reviewed some of their documents. There were some other factors involved in that decision, and they certainly got several bids. I think one of the things they did find out is going to a standardized barrel, which would create the automated pickup, save them, I think, 30% on their pickup fee. So they're going to that for sure. And I think they had some trouble with the pay-as-you-throw because they were using a sticker program, and the research that we've seen does suggest that the sticker program is not a good one. But again, to know all of this, Selectman Watson, and to know, what's good, what's bad, the pros and cons, that's what this grant would be about. Anyone else want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that the trash budget just doesn't go away when we go to pay-as-you-throw. The whole idea is to help prevent some of the huge increases that we've seen moving forward. I think 9% is what we're looking at this year or next year. We're going to be close to $1 million. That's over 4% of our actual total budget. And knowing that we only get 2.5% increase on your property taxes every year, which we actually put $85,000 back into to reduce that down to 2.385%, makes a big difference when you have those type of big increases for such a large percentage of your budget. So a lot of towns are facing that, and that's why they have these programs to help mitigate some of those costs without going to an annual override every year for trash. And those prices are going to continue to skyrocket unless people severely start reducing the amount of waste that they create.
Madam Chair, if I may, just to, again, say that, to clarify and to answer one of Select Board Member Watson's question, is that, as Selectman Nave just said, that it is 100% does not eliminate your trash costs. You still need to pay a hauler and disposal. You still need to have the trucks on the road. You will still need to pay for those trucks. You will still have an annual cost. You will still have a tipping fee. You will still have exactly the same contract you essentially have now. But the only thing you do as a pay-as-you-throw is you add a revenue-generating factor, which means that the individuals who throw away more waste are paying for the bags that they throw the waste into. They're not paying for the single-family home with, two, older adults that only need 2 trash bags and won't buy as many trash bags. You're charging for the trash bags, essentially. So you're charging that individual for the trash that they're throwing away. So you're making and providing more ownership for the individual to decide what they throw away and being more mindful of what they throw away versus what they recycle. So you're not taking away the trash contract. Pay-as-you-throw is to pay bags for the bags. Those bags are what you're paying for. And then in addition to that, the town has already entered into a pay-as-you-throw program without going to the ballot vote, without going to town meeting vote. That is your overflow. You limited the amount of barrels that you could have per household to 2 35 gallons or 1 64 gallon. That was a decision that was made by the Board of Selectmen, and then any additional bag that you put out on the curb needs to be one of those purple bags, and that is your overflow. So that is your pay-as-you-throw. You're charging somebody additional money to get that bag to put out additional trash in order to curb the usage of trash, because then whatever they spend on the bag, that revenue then goes back into our budget to pay for it. And a prime example of that is Merrimack. Merrimack has a pay-as-you-throw program. If you look at their charges for trash and recycling, well, for trash, and then you look at the monies that they bring in from the purchase of the bags, that goes to offset their bill. So you're still paying your contractor, you're still paying your hauling and disposal, but you're not paying as much because the people who are using and adding to your tonnage are paying for the extra bags. So that offsets the additional cost of the contract. So that's something to be very mindful.
But again, this grant would help provide us with the technical assistance and all of the information and answers to questions that would take us more than 80 hours to find, right? I mean, that's the point of this, is to gain access to a technical expert and direct that information to this Board of Selectmen, so that we have, another year and a little over a year on this contract. Is that right? Or is it 2 years?
So it's FY '27,
Okay, so-
we have 2 more years. We have
Right.
fiscal year '25, which we're currently in, then we'll have fiscal year '26, and then it will expire next June.
But we'd
the
like to
following year.
be able to start drafting the proposals of what we might do before the beginning of the last year, correct?
Yes, and we're
Yes,
starting
that's
to
a
look
goal.
at automated collection and whether or not we can purchase the totes, which will then bring down the contract that we're currently in, and just
Right.
looking for ways to cut down the cost of the contract as much as we possibly can.
That was a secondary thing. I don't know if you heard that Rebecca has spoken with the contractor that we're currently with, and it is possible, if we can find a way to purchase the totes, the standardized size barrels, that we could go to an automated collection, and they would then lower the current contract a little bit, which would be helpful to our balancing of the budget, because it is escalating far faster than 2.5% right now. So, again, the question before the board tonight isn't, are we going to go to pay-as-you-throw? We already have that in the overflow, but the question is, do we want to have access to this grant, and so vote to allow the town administrator to apply for this? Is it that the title of it, the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Municipal Technical Assistance Grant? That's a mouthful. but that's the name of it, Sustainable, to apply for the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Municipal Technical Assistance Grant. Such a nice head for it.
Was that your motion?
Well, if you will make the motion, that would be what we make it for.
Oh, boy.
You could just say so moved.
No, make him say it. Make him say
No, I can't say it
You can
again
do it.
3
I'll
times.
make a motion, I make a motion to, oh, God.
Apply for.
Apply for the application for the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Municipal Technical Assistance Grant, pay as you throw.
it. Very nicely done. I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Does anybody else want to try and read that title? No? Okay. No? Okay. All in favor? It is unanimous, right? Is it unanimous? Are you in favor, Ed? I'm sorry, okay, sorry, someone was cracking up next to me, I couldn't see. Okay, I think that's item 5. Let me just squirrel back, because I did go out of order. I want to just make sure. Yes, so next would be to review and approve the fraud risk policy. And I think we have in our packet a lot of documentation on this fraud risk, and this has been something that was itemized, well, actually recommended in our audit reports that we didn't have a fraud risk policy, and now it's been accomplished through our town administrator and our accountant, I believe. Accountant headed this up. Do you have any questions on this? There's a lot of documents to read. I'm just going to it. It starts with fraud risk assessment forms, and you can see that all the departments have had a fraud risk assessment form filled out. Talks about what they're for, and the purpose is to document an administrative understanding of the risks of fraud residing within the town, and review the results of this assessment with the town's operation procedures in order to ensure that there are adequate procedures and internal controls in place designed to prevent, detect, and deter fraud, to identify potential risk areas and develop administrative and departmental action items for minimizing these risks, and highlight the town's oversight function designed to prevent, detect, and deter fraud. Sounds pretty good, right? You think? Do you have questions on these forms that I would say you would approve them in their entirety? Unless you wish to go through them by department by department. Does anybody have an indicator?
No, I mean, I read over that policy, and I think it's fitting, and I think that's going to really enhance our audit come next year.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll make a motion to, let me just look at the wording on the agenda again.
I'll make a motion to approve the fraud risk policy.
That's probably what you should say, yes. Okay, any further discussion of it? No, I want to thank our town accountant and our town administrator for this work, because it was a lot of hours went into this, I'm sure. And I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, and then to review and approve the whistleblower policy. So I actually asked the town administrator, because isn't there a state law, but she said it's also good to have our own policy, so that if somebody comes forward and thinks that something doesn't look right, they now have a policy to follow. It tells them who they go to report it, and things like that. Does that sound reasonable? So I need a motion to approve the whistleblower policy.
I'll make a motion to approve the whistleblower policy.
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Ed. Any more discussion of it? There be none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, we already did the liquor licenses. We accomplished the appointments and resignations. There are no minutes to approve. Is there any old or unfinished business? No? Are there any items not reasonably anticipated at the town posting? Usually that comes from our town administrator. Okay, and now time administrator time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So one, even though she just stepped out, I did want to recognize Ellen Petrillo, our town accountant. She did a fantastic job with the fraud risk assessment. It's been on her priority list for some time now to get that all together. It took a lot of work and having to meet with all the departments. So I do want to commend her for what she was able to accomplish, and hopefully as soon as we have our auditors in the next few weeks, they will tell us that we can remove that comment from our management letter, which keeps getting smaller and smaller every year, and that is all a true testament to her hard work. So I just wanted to make sure to go on record and applaud her for her efforts on all of that. So I just have two small updates. As we had mentioned at the last meeting on April 29th, our highway superintendent has resigned from his position. There has been questions about whether or not we would be reposting the job, and I would like to take a closer look at taking a stab at potentially looking at an organizational change and seeing whether or not we can accomplish a bit more with that position. As I think came to light, which is no comment towards our former highway superintendent, who's fantastic. It's just that we have a small Chapter 90 budget. So a lot of the individuals and residents had come forward to the Board of Selectmen to complain about their roads not being paved and where is this money going and what are we spending it on, et cetera, et cetera. And so in a small town like Groveland, grant money can go a long way in order to help improve our infrastructure. And grant applications are not an easy thing to do. They take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of coordination and effort to try and figure out exactly how we can make the best use of a grant. So if we're opening up a roadway for a specific use, do we want to add a sidewalk? Do we want to look at the drainage? Can we use, municipal vulnerability preparedness grant for some of the culvert work, but then also use a complete streets grant for the sidewalk while also using Chapter 90 for maybe a little bit of the engineering or the paving? How can we make that money that we have go further? And that really is more of a strategic, in the office kind of type of administrative project management type of line of work. And that also includes a lot of the feedback that we heard from the residents about community preservation and whether or not there's construction oversight and whether or not people are actually paying close attention to some of the more detailed infrastructure projects that we have going on. I would really like that role to play a larger role in that effort. I think it comes at a great cost savings to the town, and it's just make sure that the projects are done and they're done correctly, and we're being mindful of the impacts all around. So I would really like to see whether or not we could take that position again, couple in more of the grant writing, couple in more of the project management side of things, couple in the procurement side of things. A lot of the procurement that I do as the certified MCPPO for the town, the bid documents can be quite lengthy. They can be quite tedious in terms of getting the bid specifications, getting all the information, and even just having somebody get the bid specifications for me to start that process is a huge savings to my time, and I think it makes a lot more sense, especially when that individual would be monitoring and providing the construction oversight. So there's just a lot of different things, that the town is seeing from moving from a elected roadway commissioner to a highway superintendent in a small town with under 7,000 with a small Chapter 90 budget. And I think that if we took a closer look at reorganizing that role a little bit and seeing how we could, make that role go longer, one will be a better service for the residents and the taxpayers in terms of their money and their time and seeing progress. And I also think it's more mindful about the candidates we attract, because you're not really going to get, a highway superintendent or DPW type director of that nature in a small town for what we have for our budget. It's just not something that we have. If we would like to put that forward, if that was like a priority that the Board of Selectmen would see, as that's what they want to do, then that's fine. But a majority of those DPW highway superintendents, they're going to want their assistant. They're going to want somebody to do the paperwork for them. So you're not just going to hire one person at, a six-figure position. You're going to have to hire another person who's going to have to do all that work. And it can't really be passed off to another position. And how do we do that thoughtfully? So while it may be the decision of the board after we take a look at what potentials are out there to move in the direction that we are currently in and just repost the position, the current director is still current superintendent is still with us until the end of this week. But at the same time, I would like to see if there's a potential for us to figure out if there's a better structural way to approach filling that position or that role within town. and having that conversation maybe at the next board meeting, we can discuss whether or not that's something the board wants to move forward with, and if not, again, that's fine. I just ask that the board, give us that opportunity to see what else is out there. Then the only other item I had was that, seeing that we had just passed our fraud risk policy and our whistleblower policy, I had noted in putting together for policies for our new select board member, we need to update those for, instead of saying selectmen, saying board of select, or select board. And I was wondering if potentially we could put that on the agenda and also make way of having a conversation about department heads using public comment as a way to initiate conversations with the board, and seeing if we could discuss that in further detail at a meeting that was convenient for the board.
Okay. I mean, those all sound like, I think, worthy agenda items. I mean, does anybody have an objection to seeing some other ideas for how you could structure this highway department? Because I agree with our town administrator. We're not going to be able to match the salaries of a DPW head from where we are right now. And since I've been on the board, there's always been the argument back and forth about where is the highway superintendent in his office? No, he's out on the road. Why is he on the road? Why is he not in his office? So I think we sort of went from elected to appointed without knowing for sure just how it was going to work. And now we've kind of folded the cemetery in under it. So it is a good time to hit the pause button maybe. And Mark, you've worked in the department, so you have an insider view. So seeing some different ideas before we go forward with, hiring again, I think would benefit us. Does anybody object to the town administrator's request to be allowed to present some options to us?
I think it'd be good to look at some options. I mean,
Okay.
definitely can be some improvements made. I mean, just over the hiring process that we had previously, we posted the job and then reposted it and gave it to the same applicant for even more money, so.
Okay, I wasn't on the board then, so I don't know how that all happened. That sounds interesting.
So
Okay.
it's Definitely you should look into that,
Okay,
open to options.
okay. Anyone else? Are we all open to the options then? So as far as department heads coming in to see us, it was funny, at candidates night, there was a lot of ideas thrown out about how the Board of Selectmen should have some kind of meetings or information from department heads. So maybe could you kind of wrap that all up and together? I don't know whether quarterly we'd hear from public safety one or, I wouldn't imagine we have everybody trooping in one at a time.
I think that would be a great idea, and have them on the agenda as an agenda item so that we can engage in a conversation instead of using public comment, as we're not allowed to engage with individuals who use public comment to make statements. So I think that's a great idea, and I would definitely propose language that you can review at your next meeting.
That'd be fantastic, yes. So, and for anybody that doesn't understand, when we allow public comment, the public comment policy prohibits us from engaging in discussion with the person. So all they can do is say something or share their thoughts or share their feelings or share an idea that they want on a future agenda or want us to look at, but we're not, because it's not a posted item, that's as far as it goes. So this would maybe help facilitate a better communication with our departments. Any-
Just so that you got it correct, are you talking about adding an item on the agenda for department heads?
So it could be something like that, or it could be like the chairwoman was saying, maybe we do we have a department every month. So a department, each meeting, one meeting a month would come in and talk about what they're doing in their departments. We have bi-monthly team meetings where we go around and we talk about what we're working on, but maybe it's an opportunity for, the highway department would come in for the month of June. And then, like you said, the public safety, we'd hear from police and fire in July. And then that way it spreads it all out, and that they would know that they, come before the board during, this month and have an update ready. Or it could just be a running agenda item as well, either however the board would like to proceed.
That seems to make sense. Have them come in, and if they got some comments, if they want to speak, sure. I'd rather see that than under the public comment. Certainly, they're the town officials, and they should be able to come in and address to the board anytime they want.
Right, what I would suggest is that we pull the policy that was written under the previous board before I was on about department meetings or something, and we change that. That was a really complicated one, and I think to simplify it would be in the best interest, and to have departments come in, maybe on a kind of a routine matter, just before the budget time begins, when things are a little slower. And then, of course, if something comes up, then they could always ask to be on the, I mean, they typically ask, but other than that, we don't see them. So that would be the point, to be a little more communication. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Did we cover everything from you all right? Okay, so we're under selectmen's time. Ed,
I don't have anything.
Mark,
I just was down the Pines boat ramp, and I noticed the highway department's redoing the dock and doing an excellent job, and I just wanted to say thank you. I mean,
oh,
so
that is good.
cleaned it up and making it, safe and usable. So I'd like to just thank them for that. Appreciate that.
Jason?
I'd like to thank everybody that ran for an elected position. I know that some positions went unrun, so I just want to express the importance of getting involved with your government to help make things happen. And I also want to congratulate everybody that was successful in their campaign.
Just want to thank everyone for voting for me. Also want to remind people about the Groveland Garden Club's plant sale. I know with spring being here, I think it's important that we purchase locally. I know this weather is not looking so great. It's going to be really rainy, but they're having a plant sale on the 18th, this Saturday at the Little Red Schoolhouse. So I encourage people to go there because I try to get my plants there. I don't do so well with them, but I try.
Okay, I did have a question on our Memorial Day service, because we don't meet again until Tuesday, May 28th. Do we know what date the Memorial Day
Yes,
service?
so that was at your last meeting, in your last packet. They also made an announcement at annual town meeting about the event.
Yeah, I remember the announcement, now I'm just trying to,
So that
the
is
date
going
out of
to
my
be
head.
at the Central Fire Station.
10:30 or something?
May,
10:30 in the morning?
it's gonna have
I
to
got
be,
it 6:30 at night.
Oh, was it
It's-
that night? I thought it was in the morning.
Tuesday, you're talking about Thursday the 23rd. It's
Thursday, the 23rd sounds
Memorial
right.
Day, yeah, it should be
Okay.
6:30 at night.
Thursday, the 23rd. Okay. That makes sense, 6:30 at night. Okay, it's the Memorial Day celebration. And that's at Central Fire Station.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just glad that so many people ran for the Board of Selectmen. I think it shows that there's a lot of interest in the board and helping the town out. And I think everybody who ran deserves to be congratulated, because it's no easy task to put yourself out there and run around with lawn signs and whatnot. And I was just really happy to see that happen. And I think that hopefully from that, we take away from that, we all understand a little better that, yes, we might not all agree on some things here and there, but there's a really common thing that we all do believe in, and that is town of Groveland. Okay, so we find our common thing, and the things we differ on, we can do with civility, and keep reminding ourselves that this town is where we are, where we live, it's our home. That's common. We all want a nice home. We all want this town to be beautiful. So thanks to everyone that ran. I really think the candidates at candidate night did an outstanding job. It was phenomenal. So I was impressed. And then our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 28th at 6:30 PM. Take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn at 7:58.
I guess I'll second that.
Okay, in favor of adjourning? And we are adjourned.